Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
If you are not entertained by this Phillies baseball right now because of their offense, then shame on you. I don't think you truly love baseball. Rhys Hoskins gets the boys going early in the first inning. A bomb to left field, 1-0. Let's continue to stay hot, Rhys. And oh, by the way, Jay Bruce, thanks for coming off of the IL in the second inning. He hits a homer of his own. The Phillies are up 2-0. Grab a lead early and let's do damage. That also gives Spencer Howard a little bit of wiggle room. It's only, his fourth career start? So to give a young pitcher such an advantage early, that's smooth. That's awesome. That's the way to do it. And I will say, look, I'm not going to criticize Spencer Howard. I just thought by his fourth start, by the end of it, I would be a bit more intrigued than I am. Now, that's not to say I'm not intrigued, because I am. I see his fastball. I see that knuckle curve. I see what he can utilize with his pitches. I see his off-speed. I see what he can do, without a doubt. But I feel that his pitch count is so high all the time, and he can't go deep into games. And it's only his fourth start, okay? Let me be clear. Let's not blow this out of proportion. It's only his fourth start. So I'm not going to heavily, insanely criticize the kid. I think that he has a skill set that can be effective in this league. But by his fourth start, I thought I would see more. I thought I would see at least one start that gets me more juiced up than another. He did call off JT Realmuto a couple times, and I say that in a positive, as if he knows what he feels comfortable with. He understands that, hey, JT, I don't know if that's my spot right now to throw that pitch. And to be, to be clear here, it's obviously not easy to just call off someone like JT Realmuto. If I'm on the bump and JT's calling my pitches, you think I'm going to go, JT, you're wrong. I'm going to throw this. Now, that's not easy to do at all, but he's not doing it in a disrespectful way. It's more of, hey, JT, this is what I feel comfortable doing. This is where I'm at right now. I'm going to shake you off, and I'm going to throw my stuff. That is a good sign because it shows what he is confident in. He shows like, hey, I want it to be this pitch, and he's not afraid of a legit player in this league. Like, he's not afraid. Like, hey, JT, I know who you are, okay? You're the best catcher in baseball. I want to be comfortable with where I'm at. But ultimately, maybe this is it. Maybe I'm heartbroken because I see Sixto Sanchez going 7 deep, getting 10 Ks, double-digit Ks, and I want that out of my young stud pitcher. But we talked about Spencer Howard being inserted into this pitching rotation and being able to make a big impact. He's not really a big impact guy right now, and I get it. It's so early in his career. I'm not throwing him in the trash by any means. But I think it's fair to say that I expected a little bit more by now. I expected at least one outing where I'm like, damn, that is insanity. And it seems like every outing at this point is kind of similar. High pitch count, not being able to go deep. You're talking 3 2/3, 4 1/3, 5 innings. And you saw his velocity drop late in the game as he did allow a 2-run shot to Juan Soto. Trey Turner was on base for that homer. It was a 2-run shot, but he was on base 4 times. He went 4 for 5. He was explosive in the batter's box. This episode of Sports Talk with Broads, by the way, is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power. With over 20-plus years of experience in the solar industry, they are home to your solar experts. Their solar program helps eliminate your electric bill completely. They offer flexible financing solutions such as $0 down. They also provide water purification systems, backup energy services, battery storage, and more. Make sure you check out their information. It is in the description. So, the Phillies started out, boom, right out of the tunnel. Bang, 2-0 lead. And from there, in the fourth inning, Gene Segura, bases juiced, double, clears the bases, 5-0 lead. Alec Boehm chips in as well with a sac fly, scores a run. It's 6-0 Phillies. I mentioned the 2-run shot by Juan Soto off of Spencer Howard for it to be a 6-2 game. And that is where the bullpen really had to step up and JoJo Romero, come on now. This kid's electric. This kid is fun as hell to watch. He's a bullpen arm that this team can really use. Is he not fun as hell? Come on. He gets the job done. It's all business. It might be the look, too, that I'm just fascinated with. He's got the flow. He's got the facial hair. When he comes out of the bullpen, it's like, here we go, JoJo Romero. But it's not only that. He dials in. He gets in on the bump, and it's all business. I'm going to do my job. I'm going to execute. I'm going to get guys out. We're going to win this game. I'm going to put this team in the best position possible. When I come in this game and when I come out of this game, we're going to be in the same damn spot when it comes to my job. And it's awesome. I mean, it really is. How are you not entertained by JoJo Romero and what he's able to do? I saw a little bit of frustration towards Joe Girardi, as if, yo, Joe, why don't you keep the stud in? Why don't you keep someone in who's being able to be so damn effective? But I'm not going to criticize him too much, although it wasn't as if Hembree came in and was able to shut the door. It's funny, I had one of my buddies over here on Sunday night. We were watching Sunday Night Baseball, that crazy, insane game where they were down 10 runs in the second inning. And it's funny, I actually tweeted out at the time, I smell a comeback, just being, kind of a jerk-off, if you will, right? Just being a jag-off. And then bang, out of nowhere, here comes this magical ride. The Phillies offense, it starts clicking, it starts doing its thing. But when Hembree was on the bump, I said to him, I really don't like Workman that much. I prefer Hembree any day of the week. Not so much for a closing role, but just in terms of which guy I like more. Hembree allowed a homer in that game, which kind of killed the mojo that the Phillies could have had late in that ninth inning. And as soon as that bomb happened, I looked at him and go, I really don't like Hembree that much. I think Workman was the better option without it. He was the better pickup, and we were just laughing. It's funny, these guys that they picked up, Workman, who got a little bit waxed in this one as well, and Hembree. While they do get rocked and the other team is scoring runs, the Phillies are still winning. So what does that mean? I do think the bullpen overall got better, right? I think it's pretty clear that the bullpen got better as the last couple weeks went by. And oh, by the way, they added David Phelps, which you want to hear some stats for you? I'll give you some stats. David Phelps since 2016. 171 appearances, a 2.85 ERA, 11 K per 9. Righties are hitting 196th against him. Now let's go to lefties in 2020. He faced 32 lefties, 15 strikeouts, only allowed 4 hits. Now let's go into 3, 4, and 5 hitters. 1 for 18 with 14 strikeouts. I really like this David Phelps move, and the last time I checked, there was no report on what players were actually given up for him, but there is a club option on his contract as well, so he can be used down the road for this organization as well. I really like that pickup. That might be the best pickup that the Phillies had to this point with the bullpen. But going back, it's almost as if, they picked up a ton of these guys and they are giving up runs, but the Phillies are still finding ways to get the job done, and that is definitely crediting the offense, because the offense has been on another level. They're continuing to score runs. They scored how many runs in that game against the Braves on Sunday Night Baseball? I mean, it's just incredible to think how they bounce back. It's just incredible to think about their mentality. You go down 10 runs in one damn inning. It was the second inning, but they scored 10 runs in that second inning. How do you have the balls to stay in it? How do you have the mental capacity to say, we're going to come back? We're going to find a way. We're going to grind in some runs. We're just going to battle and play simple baseball and see what happens. And they made it a super close game, and you got to credit the team for doing that. You had David Hale finally get in. He was miserable. Jake Arrieta, miserable. Awful. It was terrible at times. But they did battle back. And I just tie that together with, this bullpen and who they added, yet it's better than what it was, but is it good enough? You just need to realize that this offense is carrying the way. You went from one of the worst bullpens in MLB history to a below-average bullpen. You're just thrilled that it's no longer one of the worst to ever do it. One of the worst bullpens ever in the history of Major League Baseball. You are no longer in that category. You're just more of below average. And to us right now, as Phillies fans, we're here ready to throw a damn parade because that just seems like such a big difference. It's actually wild, though, how different that is. I'm not thrilled with this bullpen. You're just more comfortable than you were before. If you look at it, Workman's constantly getting into trouble, constantly allowing runs, constantly allowing guys on. Hembry, the same thing. It's not like they're shut down guys, but when the offense is producing enough runs, well, you're able to sleep a little easier at night. So in the 7th inning, Taylor and Turner hit home runs. But Rhys Hoskins, in the 7th, hits a big-time double, knocks in a couple runs, and the Phillies go back up 8-4. That was huge. They needed that insurance. They had to knock in a couple more runs for some safety, for some security. And luckily they did because Juan Soto ended up hitting his second home run of the night to make it 8-6. But luckily those 4 runs heading into the 9th inning was enough of a lead to finish the job off. Alec Boehm gets a hit, knocks in a run. He's back. He had a couple quiet games. Bryce and JT, cold as I mentioned. Rhys Hoskins, 2 for 4 and 3 RBI. Rhys Hoskins, look, if you go back and you watch what he provided for you in the first week or so of the season, wasn't swinging. If he did swing, it was ugly. It was bad. Poor pitch selection. You name it. One of the worst things I've ever seen, ever. One of the worst plate appearances my eyes have seen goes to Rhys Hoskins earlier this season. Yet now, I'm not going to lie to you, that swing is gorgeous. Gorgeous. It reminds me of what we saw back when he first entered the league. It's smooth. And it's confidence, too. The difference it makes when you feel good about yourself. The difference it makes when you walk up into that batter's box and it's no longer, I'm going to walk. It's no longer, I'm not going to swing. It's, I'm going to hit a damn home run. It's, I'm going to put the ball in play. It's, I'm going to drive the baseball. You see the difference, and he's executing. And it's not only just the home runs. He's doing more than that. He's getting extra base hits. He's putting the ball in the gap. He's doing it with runners in scoring position. He's doing it with guys on in general. It's incredible to see how he has flip-flopped what he is now. Because it's season-changing, potentially. It could be the difference in what this team actually does. It could be the difference from being the last place team, like, not the last place team, but the first team out and the first team in. It could be the difference between the first team out or the second team in the division and actually getting into a spot where you're in the playoffs. So Rhys Hoskins being clutch and hitting homers and giving this team early leads, it's a spark. How many times do I have to go through this? Phil Gosselin is a spark. Andrew Knapp is a spark. Well, when one of your top players is playing piss poor, being awful, being atrocious, down in the dumps, the body language is poor, that rubs off on people. It does. Poor body language, him being upset, there's a domino effect. Well, when he is hot, it's the complete opposite. Guys are buzzing. Guys are feeding off of it. It gives a warm feeling in the clubhouse knowing Rhys is going to do this, huh? Rhys is going to step into one here, huh? Rhys is going to drive one to left center field, huh? Everyone's saying that in the clubhouse, and then he does it? Come on. You're leaning up on top of the dugout. You're fist bumping. You're screaming. You're giving the claps. Here we go, Rhys. Rhys. Here we go. It's a game changer. And I love it. I smile every time. Look, there's been plenty of times throughout my hockey career where, it was a tough stretch. It was a bad stretch. I had to dig myself out of it. But when you do, and let's say you have one good game, right? You have a couple bad games, whatever the case may be, and then you respond with a good game. And then you think, all right, bros, that was a good game. Next time you go out there, do the same thing. I was a stay-at-home defenseman. My job, chip pucks out of the zone and make some nice outlet passes. I was like, hey, remember that nice tape-to-tape pass I had? Let's do that again. Bang, tape-to-tape pass. Boys are out into the neutral zone. They're flying in the offensive zone. All right, bro, it's next shift. Let's do the same thing. Well, maybe that wasn't there the next shift, but that's fine. I flip it out of the zone, and I hit someone on a breakaway. They don't score, but I was able to at least generate an offensive chance. All right, bros, let's feed off that. And then bang, 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 bang. Here we go. Here's a 3-game stretch of bros playing great hockey, right? Well, you're seeing it with Rhys, and I'll tell you what, I'm here for it. When you see his swing in full effect, I'm almost stunned, as if I want to cry. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you, Rhys. Keep it going. Please keep it going. I listed the bullpen, by the way. J.J. Romero, Hembry. How about Tommy Hunter? Come on, Tommy Hunter. It wasn't the smoothest inning by him by any means, but guess what? He did what he needed to. Did they score any runs? Did they? No. Tommy Hunter, also known as Michael Jordan. That competitive nature. How about it? And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm being very sarcastic because what he said to the media after one of those games, saying that he was frustrated and he was pissed off that people were really coming after the bullpen. And I was like, all right, Tommy, show me something then. And then since that moment, here he is, that competitive nature inside, just being different, getting outs. Doing scoreless outings. I love it. It's so ridiculous. I love it. Aaron Nola versus Patrick Corbin on the bump tomorrow. This stretch that the Philadelphia Phillies are on right now, it's must-watch television. I see a lot of people out there who have been down on the Phillies. I'm not really in. Whether it's a 60-game season or because they went through that abysmal play where the bullpen blew the game every single time they entered. I don't know what the reason was, but not everyone was in to this team. And now it seems like the pages have turned a bit. I'm not saying there's 9 billion people all ready to rock and roll for a World Series championship because that is blowing this way too far. But it does seem as if, and maybe it has something to do with the Sixers being out, and maybe it has something to do with the Flyers being down 3-1. I don't know. I think it's fair to throw that into the equation, but maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. But people are on board. People are tuning in. More people are watching the Phillies because their lineup is legit, and offense is entertaining. Now, I enjoy a nice pitching duel. And it looks like we'll probably see one tomorrow, hopefully. I need to see Aaron Nola go through. His last outing was what? Was that the outing where Joe Girardi allowed him to go into the 7th with 100 pitches? And it wasn't his most outstanding work by any means, but the fact that he was able to grind through, the fact that he was able to dial in enough and fight through his own adversity in that game, that's special. That's remarkable. And not every single pitcher can do that. You need to have a unique skill set. You need to be wired the right way when it comes to the mental side of the game. And he was, no doubt, that. He was definitely, it was clear that he was that in his last outing. Can he feed off of it? Can he do it again? Can he do it against Juan Soto? What's Juan Soto going to do to him? Is Juan Soto going to crush some baseballs? How about Turner? Is he going to continue to be hot? Dude, 4 for 5. I mean, come on. Every time he was up to the plate, you knew he was going to do something. You knew he was going to make a play. You knew he was going to fly out of the box, be effective down the first base line, going nuts. You knew he was going to be a pest. It's crazy because you look at this team right now, this Nationals team, and it's not like they're tearing it up. And one of the big storylines heading into this season, ESPN did a big article, the top 60 MLB storylines heading into the 60-game season, and pretty high on the list was the Washington Nationals attempting to go back-to-back. And I thought to myself, that's not really that entertaining. And that's no knock on the Nationals, but no one looked at that team as a squad that's going to make this big, historic run year after year. It was an emotional win. It was an awesome win. I'm not going to take away from their World Series championship. It was a great run. It was a miracle season. It was one of those special sports story seasons where they were awful, middle of the year. They come back. They find a way. Their bullpen, I mean, how did they do that? You threw some starters back there. They patched it together. Anibal Sanchez was huge. Rendon, not just Rendon, but Howie Kendrick, being an X factor in the postseason. But you never really felt like they were going to be able to be this team. If the Dodgers win a World Series, I think it's interesting to think, okay, will the Dodgers go back-to-back? If the Red Sox, if the Yankees, if teams like that do it, you think, okay, can they go back-to-back? But if the Washington Nationals do it with the team that lost Anthony Rendon and not the same exact team, I don't know. And you know that it's some sort of miracle, right? Even with the St. Louis Blues, right? So St. Louis Blues were last. They were at the bottom of the league. They were bad. They were awful. And then they go on this crazy run. They win the Stanley Cup. One of the big storylines to me heading into the NHL season wasn't, can the Stanley Cup champions be the St. Louis Blues again? There's just so much that can happen. It's different if it's the Boston Bruins or the Pittsburgh Penguins or something of that nature, but I don't think it's the same when it's a St. Louis Blues or a Washington Nationals. And right now they're in a weird spot because if this is 162, you don't freak out if you're the Nationals because, oh, last season we just won a World Series when we did not start out hot. But now you don't have the time. Now time's running out. And you have teams like the Padres making big splashes, and it's hard to find sellers because there's so many buyers. You have the Tigers, who's essentially a 500 baseball team at the moment, ready to think that, hey, we can make some noise because, well, we're 500 at the deadline in a 60-game sprint. It gives teams these hopes. It's hard to go out and find big-time difference makers because so many teams are interested in those because a lot of teams are in. More teams are in than they are out. But I like what the Phillies did. I thought overall, here's the difference of what they did big picture. So they did acquire David Phelps at the trade deadline on trade deadline day, but when you look at what they did altogether, getting Workman and getting Hale, even though I'm not huge on him, getting Hembry, filling in these pieces. Ranger Suarez is going to be a big addition as well. I don't know what to really expect from him. Is it fair to expect a lot considering what he has been through over the last couple months or so? Obviously, it wasn't your standard COVID-19 case where he was asymptomatic. So what do we expect from him? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see how he comes out firing. I don't think it's fair to expect him to just be some dominant pitcher. But you add Ranger Suarez back into the bullpen. And the point of bringing up the bullpen as a whole is, before, as soon as you went to the bullpen, you knew instantly the game was over. You knew, oh, well, there you have it. The Phillies are going to lose this baseball game. And that happened majority of the time. Now, it's not that way. Now you feel, okay, they might give up a run or two, but the Phillies are still going to be competitive. They're still going to be able to do it. And you might not think every pitcher is going to give up a few. Maybe Adam Morgan, maybe Hembry, maybe those guys, Hector Neris, maybe a couple of them you don't feel very confident in, but JoJo Romero and Tommy Hunter at the moment, those guys can be like, yup, it's going to be a shutdown. Yup, it's going to be a shutdown inning. Overall, I look at this Phillies win, 8-6 victory. I'm super pumped up, and when they play great baseball, it makes the next night, the anticipation for the next night, that much sweeter, and that's how I feel waiting for Aaron Nola and Patrick Corbin to take the mound tomorrow. Thank you all so much for listening, and I will see you next time.